All right. We're all set?
Ooh.
All right.
What did I do? Did I pull anything out? All right, because my hand got stuck to it.
Your cord's a little short. That's all. Don't worry about it.
We're used to that.
Just so you know, it's only short when it's not excited.
From a grower, just so we'll state this before the episode starts. Down in the Old Forge, we're growers, we're not showers. All right? Same with our height. He had the microphone arms up in the beginning. No. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I guess I'm too short for this. All right, we're going to start it up. Ready?
Go ahead.
Looking for the perfect grooming experience for your pup? Welcome to Carley's Fairy Tale Dog Grooming, located at 8 North Main Street in Pittston. We offer boutique-style grooming with a focus on quality over quantity. Your furry friend will enjoy a cage-free, stress-free environment where they will feel comfortable and pampered. At Carley's, we make sure every dog leaves feeling and looking like royalty. Call 541-410-9582 or stop in today to book your appointment at Carley's Fairy Tale Dog Grooming. Genoa Wholesale Foods, supplying quality since 1947. For over 75 years, Genoa Wholesale Foods has been your trusted partner for premium food supplies. Specializing in services to pizzerias, Genoa also caters to restaurants, bakeries, delis, and bars throughout northeastern Pennsylvania. They proudly offer a blend of both private label and national brands, helping you find the perfect products to meet your restaurant needs. With local deliveries and the care of a family-owned business, they are committed to making your success their priority. Choose Genoa Wholesale Foods for reliable, top-quality restaurant supplies that keep your business running smoothly. Genoa Wholesale Foods, locally owned and operated for 3 generations. Call Genoa today at 570-823-6142 or visit them online at www.genoafoods.com. Welcome to Food Fight. I'm your host, Brian DiMattei. We are coming to you for the first episode of Food Fight podcast. I'm going to call it 2.0 just for the day. We're not going to get that to stick. Just for the day, we're in the ConversionWorx Studio recording my first episode in the new studio, and I had to bring in my good friend from Old Forge. I'm in the middle of doing my Old Forge pizza reviews again. One more year later, Russell Rinaldi, council president of the Old Forge Borough, owner of Rinaldi's Cafe. I always want to say Rinaldi's Cafe,
People
bro. Just change the name. Change the name. Cafe Rinaldi's in Old Forge on the iconic Main Street Old Forge in the old Mucciolo's building. We're getting into the Old Forge history. So Mucciolo's and Brudigo's right next door. Russell, welcome to Food Fight. Yeah, Food Fight.
Brian, first of all, thank you once again. I know this is our second time. We're probably about a year and about a month or two.
We're just
the
anniversary
was the first one, I think, last February, right?
I'm so excited. March, I think it was. I'm so excited I couldn't even say the name of the show.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me back again. And when I first walked in today, I wasn't sure, but you clarified today is the first time in this new studio.
Yes.
I love it.
Look at this.
I love it. You
sent
me the photo on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
I looked around and I said, I love the colors. I love the scheme. I love the whole layout of it. It looks great.
I walked in. Brian had it all set up. I was just like, fuck yeah. This is fantastic. Fucking fantastic.
I really like it. Like
Absolutely
I said, I like the color. Feels good.
Mm-hmm. My goal this time around shooting new episodes is not to say the word fantastic 145 fucking times because I say it all the time. Then I listen to it. I'm like, why did I say fantastic 100 times? And then people like Rosario will be like, yo, I said this word 1,000. I'm like, listen, I said fantastic 1 million times. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to say it 1,000 more times.
Sometimes we get stuck on it. It's okay.
We do.
I'll forgive you.
Yeah. So I reached out to you. I'm like, Russ, we're shooting new episodes, and we didn't get a chance to finish our conversation from the first episode. We talked for almost 2 hours, and it was just pizza. Old Forge and pizza and growing up in town. And I had a whole list of stuff to talk about, and we didn't get into it.
But I said that to one of the guys as soon as we walked in.
Yeah.
You were coming in. I was sitting down. We were getting ready. I said, the last time we talked, the first episode me and you did, I said, Brian was telling me as we were going through it, we were supposed to do like a 45, maybe 50-minute episode. And we didn't get a lot of the things in that you wanted to talk about or that I want to talk about. And I think you actually edited the video but you went a little bit past anyway.
We
So
did an hour.
Well over an
we
hour.
did an hour
right.
and a half. It was just. I told them I needed more time for our episode, and we did it. It was almost an hour and a half, and it was such a great flow of the story, getting into the history of Old Forge Pizza, because like we've talked about it before, people love it or they hate it. But the ones that hate it, I'm convinced they're secretly home eating it in their bed. They're just like, I'm going to eat this Old Forge Pizza. No one's going to see me do it.
Well, I would have to say a good number of them are definitely doing that. I'll agree with you. And then there's also a good number of them, like you said, they definitely hate it. Why they hate it, I don't know. It's been going on for a long time, the love and hate relationship.
Yeah,
but you get some people who just it's like you took like their best friend away from them.
Like
or
you stole
something.
money from them.
Right. Like
how dare you? That
you
pizza
did
looks
something
terrible.
bad.
That pizza, it's a grilled cheese sandwich.
And not to get off that topic, but to stay on the pizza topic, I know me and you talked about it last time. Like I've eaten hundreds, and maybe thousands of pizzas before in my life. I never ate one that bad, and I said this last time. I never ate one that bad that upset me enough to go and crucify somebody over it. I mean, I'm not that kind of person anyways.
Yeah.
But even if I was, I'd just go home and I'd finish it.
I would finish it too.
And I just go home and I just go about my day and just, do my, there's no way I could put that much energy. And obviously with social media and Facebook and Instagram and TikToks and all these platforms, you could just express yourself on and not have to be afraid of any, repercussions.
Yeah.
People just blast out whatever they want without thinking, and boom, it's out there. And I'm like, these people, like, what's wrong with some of them?
I've run into 2 food fight hecklers in public. Let me tell you what. They're quite different in public when I'm staring them in the face.
Most people are.
I'm like, did you call me a piece of shit last week on my page? There's a lot I could deal with. I just laugh at it now. I told you from our first time we talked, I used to freak out about it. It would bother me. Like, why is this stranger who I don't know, who doesn't know me, calling me an asshole?
You get a little podcast.
I get a little
podcast road rage.
I get a little like, who's this motherfucker? But now I just laugh at
I
it.
gotta be honest with you.
Just laugh at
I think it was
now.
about a month ago. You were standing up in Lackawanna
That was
Avenue.
great.
And you say, welcome to Food Fight. And the guy says to you, you're no Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
You go, I'm not. But I bet I could tap you out.
Absolutely. That was a great video. That guy, to be fair, whoever it was, he had a smirk on his face while he was saying it. So it was fun. He said it if you listen to the video close, when I'm panning, you could hear him say it, and then we directed it to him. It was real funny.
Well,
I also made light
to
to
both times.
I also made light to the Coney Island across the street, fell into the ground. How is the fucking face of a building this fall?
I think someone else said something a couple days ago on social media.
Yeah,
Like
they're like, did it fall on the ground? I'm like, the one across the street fell.
Right,
There's
the
been
same
2.
thing.
There's been 2. You know what's funny about the origins of the Texas Wieners? And so in New Jersey, the name's not in my brain right now, but the 2 brothers who created the original Texas Wiener sauce and the hot dogs was in Jersey. And then
Really? I didn't know that.
Then they had a fight, and they broke up. And they had 2 different places right next to each other for like 100 and some years, like 100 years, something like that, right? I'm screwing this up, but you know the story of Coney Island Scram.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They created that business. They had a fight, and
Very similar.
And the brother opened up the across the street. So something about hot dogs and
One's
Texas
right
Wieners.
on Lackawanna and one's right down the
On the side there. That's
But
whatever
very
that
close.
was. Oh, yeah.
Right before the train bridge.
Right. We walked in there. I haven't been in there in years. I guess they remodeled. I guess it was a fire or something like that. They remodeled. Amazing.
This is the one on the bottom.
Yeah, the one on the bottom.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I remember I posted the review and some guy goes, not the same without the owner. I guess the old guy used to pile up
Put them
Texas
all the
Wiener
way up
sauces.
his forearm. Right, all the way up his arm.
I would eat that. I don't give a shit.
They had photos of it where it was all up there. And like you said, it's going back. There were some black and white photos.
I bet.
Like it was
there
going back.
Photos everywhere hanging
He
up
had
in
them
there.
all the way up his arm, just like, and he was like pulling all the stuff on them. It was.
You a Texas Wiener fan?
I am.
They're good.
I
I just
haven't-
went to Majestic the other day in Pittston.
I haven't
That was really
ate
good.
one in a while. I have a lot of acid reflux now, and I have.
I'm
a
sure
lot of,
there'll be no problem eating Texas Wieners with acid reflux. So we went to Hazleton for Jimmy's quick lunch, and my buddy Mike doesn't like onions. And let me tell you what, the waitress laid into him about the onions. Every time she came over, goes, still don't like onions? He put the onions down. She almost called him a pussy, I think, about the onions. But she was a lifer. I go, you ever go? She goes, I never left Hazleton I'm like, you should try. You should try. There's a lot of good.
It's a good response.
But the Hazleton food scene's crazy up there.
I
They have a whole
there in a
page.
while.
They have a page with like over 10, 15,000 members, and they were just waiting for Food Fight to come up there. It was really good. I did Jimmy's, and I did one of the bakeries up there. But I got to go up to Alta House. There's a few other places that we got some invites to go up to, so it's exciting about that.
No, just because you're talking, there's always room for Texas wieners, or I know you made
There's
the
always
joke,
room to
you
eat.
could eat it.
There's always room to eat.
Just because I have the acid reflux problem, I eat a lot of foods I
I'm sure
shouldn't.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. You know what I ate last night at midnight before I went to bed? I was tired. I was falling asleep, and I don't know why I ate this, but I had some lettuce left in the fridge, like a little mix, pre-salad mix. Ate that, black beans, some taco meat, tons of salsa, and some cheese. I'm eating it in front of my TV, and like I know I'm gonna go to bed as soon as I'm done eating this fucking food. And I put the bowl in the sink. I'm like, stay up for a little while longer. Let's digest it a little bit. But then I go to bed. Sometimes, no, I slept pretty good. Now, if that was if that was General Tso's chicken or a half bag of Cadbury, the Cadbury, not the cream eggs. I love the best candy ever.
The hard shell.
The hard shells.
I love them.
Ate a half a bag the one night.
Love them.
I was at the point where I was still eating them, and my body's like, bro, enough.
Right.
Enough. I'm like, no, I need more. Nine's a serving. I'm already 3 servings in. But I went to bed. I was up every hour on the hour, just eyes open, and I just could not sleep. What a restless sleep that was. And it's probably ate about 100 grams of sugar.
Well, speaking of General Tso's, I know it's one of your favorites.
That is my to-go order, my delivery order.
I know. I seen it. Well, I mean, I know from talking to you personally,
Yeah.
but I see you posted a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was my meal last night at about 4 a.m. I had some leftover Chinese from the night before. So
The rice is never the same.
about 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, it isn't never
Unless
the
you
same.
mix it in with the sauce from the food.
That's what I did. I mean, it was
Yeah.
4 a.m. Usually, like I said, at that time, that's when I'm usually going to bed. So a little General Tso's at 4 a.m. in the morning. It was a good meal.
I used to be a 4:30, 5 a.m. sleeper when I worked at the casino, dealing cars till
Well, because you're coming home from
dealing
work
cars
so
till 3 in the morning,
Right,
wound up playing Golf Clash on my phone for about an hour before I go to bed. I used to play that game a lot. You ever play Golf Clash on the phone?
Not Golf Clash.
Back in the day?
I paid.
I used to pay. I used to pay to play that game.
I played a Clash game, maybe Clash of the Clans.
It was all kind of, Clash of the Clans.
Clash of
I bet
Clans.
you definitely spent money on that game.
I spend money on every game I play.
The Golf Clash got real fun. Real fun. So
I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but I'm not afraid.
I'm not proud of it either.
I'm
but
not
I don't
afraid
care.
to admit it.
Yeah. I don't care. I mean, I spent money on. Listen, we both spent money on worse things, which we're going to get into in a little while. But let's touch on. I released a video from our last episode about the double crusted white pizza in town, and we're having trouble finding the origins. Nobody checked in with us. None of the old timers checked in with us. So I had ChatGPT scour the web about 4 or 5 different times. I looked into it myself. The only thing that kept on coming back was the Gingerelli's. Invented it in the 20s, right alongside with the red pizza. And it was for, as we know, we got into it last time, the red pizza was rectangle because they were putting in the shoe boxes for the coal miners.
Yeah, they were doing the 4 cuts only.
Yes.
What you could fit into the shoe box out of the 12 cut tray.
Mm-hmm.
They would go to a lot of the shoe stores, like we were saying last time, and they would save the boxes, take the boxes, try and get them for free, pay them a little bit of money for them, what have you. But you're only able to fit the 4 cuts of red in there, and that's where the pizza and the pizza box takeout business basically.
You told me that story for the first time when I was in college. Remember, I came to the restaurant, a few of my friends to do that group project that nobody else did the group project part with, and we all got a fucking C+ because they were lazy. The teacher goes to me, goes, why didn't you do the presentation? I'm like, I did the report. I did like a 10-page report. Like that got us good, but the presentation in class.
You already did all the work.
The presentation in class, they were horrible. I couldn't, I'm sitting in my desk, like I'm watching them. I'm like, oh my God. I don't think they rehearsed it. That was their part of it. Anyways, but that's the first time you got into it with me about telling me about the shoe boxes.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I heard that story a long time ago when I was about 12, 13.
Mm-hmm. And then Gingerelli's carried that over to their restaurant. You order a tray of pizza, I'm going to give you 1 cut apiece. You got like 1 cut. Like, where's the rest of the tray? You're going to get a cut at a time.
And then you get another cut.
And then
maybe 2.
And they did that forever. And they
All
even
the
did
time.
that when I used to go down there. Man, I could smell that pizza.
I remember going there when I was a kid, and that's exactly how you got it.
Smell that.
And the place was packed.
Oh, always. I used
Busy.
4:30 pickup.
Busy.
I go there for 4:15. I'm not getting that pizza until 5 o'clock.
I mean, you were busy on the inside.
Yeah,
you were busy
everywhere.
with the line
the whole
around
town,
the door.
The whole town was busy.
But everybody in around you, cut here, then over there. That table get a cut or two. That table get a cut or
smell
two.
it.
That one get a cut or two.
Last time we talked about Gingerelli's, we didn't have Bobo's in town. Bobo's is very close to it.
I'm going to be
They
honest.
say it's close to Cabela's. I never had Cabela's back in the day. I don't remember it.
Cabela's was down
where
right now where
Coloruso's 2.0 is right now.
is,
I never had the pleasure, but people say Bobo's is extremely similar to that. And Leo G's had the recipe to Gingerelli's.
Well, Cabela's is my cousin by marriage, and their pizza is very similar to Gingerelli's was.
The black pepper on the crust.
Black pepper on the crust, and very similar to Bobo's. And Bobo has a great pizza.
I didn't try his double crusted white yet.
Great.
Did you?
I didn't try the
I'm
white,
going to hit up a few places this weekend.
But I had the red, and Bobo's pizza is really good. Really good.
I have a tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. I haven't competed in a while, but I'm calorie cycling right now. So I have to lose a couple
Weren't you
pounds.
just in Disneyland?
I didn't
Disney
compete
World?
though. I didn't compete.
Oh, okay.
I went
all
through the
right.
coach and there's a little
wasn't
vacation,
sure.
but I'm going to compete at a tournament in
you.
Jersey.
I saw you in the Facebook.
Yeah, I'm going to be 189. So right now I'm calorie cycling because I can eat my pizzas on the weekend. So I get bloated. I unbloat during the week, bloat on the weekend, lose 2-3 pounds by the end of that week. You know what I mean? So, but I'm going to go down to Old Forge. I didn't do Anthony's last time.
No, you gotta do Anthony.
I don't know why I didn't do it. I don't have Anthony's red or Cusimano's red. I just have to go there.
Oh, you gotta do both.
And I reached out to Phyllis.
Both of them are fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to have the regular red and they have a thin crust red.
Phyllis does both. Now TJ and Nina's at Cusimano's,
I've had their pizza.
Their red and white pizza is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so is Anthony's. But Anthony's makes a thin crust red, and I'll be honest, I've had it and I think it's fantastic. But there's that word fantastic again. People but people all over, especially social media, when you talk about Anthony's and their pizza, they say about their both pizzas are great. A lot of people bring up the thin crust.
Yeah, I hear
It's
more.
really,
I hear
it
more
is
about
good.
the thin crust. And I guess they have really good steaks there.
Fantastic steaks.
Yeah.
They for an Italian restaurant over the years, as long as I know them, and they're probably in business over there just as long as I am, close to 30 years, 25 years. For an Italian restaurant, that's the place for steaks. I mean, they have awesome food. I try to stay away from the word. You put that in my head. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, y'all worked up now. Fantastic.
But they have great food. But their steaks, they do a great job with them.
I have to go there for dinner. I think this weekend I'm going to do Rivillo's and Salerno's. I get that pizza during the day, which is great. But your pizza at Rinaldi's and then other places at nighttime. So I'm going to have to go on the weekends.
Yeah.
Friday nights, come down there, hit up a bunch of places, walk around the street with the microphone. It's a lot of fun. Microphone up my game a little bit.
Yeah.
I
love the microphone.
When I originally started Dimate's Food Fight, it was supposed to be like a newscast food review kind of page.
Right, you started like
I thought the news desk
live from the studio.
Yeah.
I remember the first
video.
Of the first one you did.
First video was with Jim Mariabelli, where I met him for the first time. We met up at Gio's Pizza Co. Did you ever go up there in Clark Clement? No. Might have to take a ride one of these days and go up to Clark Summit and get some pizza. This guy makes some very unique
State
pizza.
Street?
No, Gio's Pizza Co.
No, but is it on State Street?
It's on the main Ave,
like
going
right
all the way
Ave?
up there. So I met him. I met my buddy Adam from Food Digitus, and then John from the Podcast Review page. They've all been on the podcast for the last year, but we all met for the first time. We did reviews together, and then we did the newscast. And it just wasn't,
I remember the newscast.
I wasn't patient enough with doing the reviews from the desk. Like I was going to do the reviews, have the picture of the food, and then go to that. I'm still interested in doing that, but like doing the microphone on the street, I like that a lot.
I like the microphone on the street. I mean, and not just because it's you and not because we're good friends, we know each other, and obviously because we're sitting there, but you do a good job with it.
I appreciate that.
Your personality's good with it. Your energy's good with it. You take the good and the bad, just like we talked about with that guy driving by. You get those little like smirks or remarks.
You get that
people
good stuff
throw
like
you.
that. Yeah.
But
I like it.
That's all part of it.
People make comments, oh, you're doing the same thing that Jim does and the same thing that Portnoy does. Like, listen, everyone does the basis of doing food review. I'm not a food review page. I'm just a food blog. I want to tell you what's good. And it's up to you to go try it.
You like to eat food.
That's why I'm not
going to
tell you what's bad.
It.
That's why I'm not going to tell you what's bad. If I don't like it, who am I to say I don't like it?
And plus, you like with Jim too, and Jim's fantastic at it as well. And But you're so positive with it. He's positive with it. You know, you give the places like good reviews, you give them good publicity, good advertisement. There's no like cutting anyone down.
There's no need for it.
Right. There's no belittling anyone's stuff, this, that. There's so much room here in our area. There's so much competition but it doesn't have to be. Like, I'm in business since 1996. It's almost 30 years.
I can't believe it's been that long. That's fucking insane.
Yeah,
bro.
I started when I was 19.
I remember, right next to Blockbuster.
Yep.
I'll never forget it.
This April is going to be our 29th year. April 23rd.
That's awesome.
Or no, April 23rd. We bought it in 96. We started where Domino's is.
I remember. Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
But you guys do such a great job with it. And like I said, there's so much room for everybody to just go out and enjoy different types of foods. You know, we got a lot of different bars, a lot of different pizza shops, restaurant, high class, casual.
Great food everywhere.
Just go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, there's things to do.
Be positive, enjoy your life, enjoy your meal, and have a good time.
Exactly.
That's all.
And I feel like
not everyone's like that. So what are we gonna do?
That. And like when I do when I spotlight those restaurants or review those restaurants, you know, it's over the course of 2 to 3 days. So I post a picture of the building. I post a picture of the food the next day. Then the next day is the actual video review. So I'm not just going to a place and be like, oh, this pizza's good. Come try it out. Like,
no,
give it 3 days.
You stretch
hundreds
it out.
of thousands of people see those posts on my page. That's what makes me a little bit different.
You do a marathon.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be different from anybody. Everyone takes things from everybody. You know what I mean? But I'm just doing my own thing, and I am growing as I do it. And I've always wanted to do this. I worked in the restaurant business a long, long fucking time. That's why I'm not giving bad reviews, because it's a hard business.
And you know a lot about it. You've experienced it. You worked in it. You know, you're knowledgeable in it, and you know a lot about it.
Yeah. There's been pizza places in town. Some days could be a little off. In a little bit longer, not in long enough, not enough cheese to the crust, and you go back the next 10 times, it's perfect.
I'll be honest
Imagine not going back to a place one time that you go to all the time because something was shitty.
I'm making pizzas since I'm 14. I started over when I was working at Brutico's with Mary Lou Verdetto, who owns Mary Lou's now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she's owned it for a while. Talk about a wonderful pizza maker. She is old school. And she is amazing. And she's been doing it for, I can't even tell you how long, but she did it with me 34 years ago. She taught me. But I was going to say, even at my own place, there's been times I messed up a pizza, making it myself. It happens. You have an off day. You have, you know, something going on, maybe a lot on your mind that day. It happens. But like you said, do you go back or not go back because of it? Why should you go back and be angry, or do you not go back and be like, just
order it again.
Let it go.
If you get something that was bad, you order it again, it was bad again and bad again. Okay,
right.
There's no need to go.
If it's repetitive 4, 5, 6 times,
I'm not going to go back.
But every now and then, one time here, once every year, once, twice in a
shit happens.
The 10 times you've been.
You weren't happy with the pizza I reviewed last. Remember, you're like the dough. Something about the dough. But it was great.
Which one?
When we reviewed your pizza last year.
Oh, right.
In the
car? I didn't like my own dough.
I came there, you were panicking. You're like, no, I don't know, B. I don't know, B. But it was great.
Because here's why. You were doing them, and I remember you were picking them up. You were showing the bottom.
Yeah.
And remember the piece you picked up of mine? Because sometimes the fresh dough, when you pan it out, you get a little air. I had that big bubble underneath it.
It was so good, though. Yeah.
It was good. It tasted good. Yeah. You know, it was delicious. But when you picked it up, I was like, oh, that piece is going to be on camera. That cut is going to be on. And I remember I'll be coming back to do it again. Car,
yeah.
And I had that little hump of the bubble, and I was like, oh, God. But, right. I
understand.
I was nervous that day with my own dough because, you know, that's just how it is.
So we touched on it last time. Then we're going to shift gears a little bit, but, you know, Portnoy coming to town. I was in fucking of all the days.
Great night.
I didn't go away.
It was a great day.
I didn't go away for years, and I picked that week to go to Atlantic City. I was going to drive home, but by the time I found out he was in town, by the time I would have gotten in the car to get home, he would have been gone. But what a day for the town. We got to get him back.
For as long as he was there, and he was there a while.
For hours.
He got there, I want to say he got in town about maybe a little after 10 a.m., 10:30. And there's only a couple places open in the morning. And then I think he left like about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon after he did all the places that were open and that he can make it to.
Yeah.
But the point of that is, for as long as he was here, it's like he was in and out like the wind. That's how fast it went by. Mm-hmm. But he was here for a while, and I'm going to tell you what, the energy in the town,
I bet.
It was fantastic. Mm-hmm. There was people, and I watch his reviews more and more since then. And I knew who he was, obviously, before that. But since he came to town, and that was in 2019, since he came to town, I've watched his reviews a lot more since then. I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen one. There's never been a crowd in any of his reviews like in Old Forge, PA.
That's what Old Forge does.
Never has there been there was 200-300 people around him. Now, when he's in the other places, the other cities, their states, whatever towns he's in, there's always 5, 10, 20, maybe 15, 30 people tops, 25 tops. In Old Forge, he was in town for, I want to say, 15 minutes, and there was 100 people around him.
You know why?
Then there was 2. Then there was people everywhere. You remember the story about the couple who gave him the baby to hold the baby?
Yes.
They actually asked him, hold the baby,
Yeah.
take a picture in front of our Karen Janelles with the pizza, and then they asked them to wait so they could run to CVS, get it printed, and have him autograph it. And he did.
I love that. You know why the crowd got so big? Because we're the pizza capital of the world.
We are.
Nobody else is the pizza capital of the world. New Haven wants to claim it, but come to town. Bring your gloves. Because we'll go at it.
Dave Portnoy said in one of his videos, he said, I love Old Forge so much, I might move there. He did say that in one of his recent videos. I want to say about maybe 6-7 months ago.
Gotta get him to come back down.
I would love for him to come back.
Gotta come back down with Food Fight, get the double crusted white pizza, try some of the new spots.
He didn't have any of the whites.
Yep. He didn't have the sweet sauce in Wilkes-Barre either when he was in town.
No, I know when he was in Old Forge, he only had the reds.
Yeah, I love sweet sauce pizza. You should make some Old Forge pizza with sweet sauce on it.
I've only had it once, but I like it.
It's great.
But again, I like probably any pizza that I've ever eaten in my life.
I want to get the Nardone's family on here.
I love Nardone's.
I grew up eating Nardone's. Cold, hot, whatever the fuck.
I might be eating Nardone's since I'm about 4.
Yeah, it was a staple in the refrigerator.
Always.
People love to hate that shit too.
They know they're eating. They love it.
They know they're sleeping with it. You know what I mean? All right, Russ. So I'm going to shift gears.
Sure.
We didn't get into this part of growing up in town and the restaurant business. I know me personally, when I worked in the restaurant business a long time, I picked up every possible bad habit from that business and I ran with it. I'm talking about drinking too much, staying out too late, going to work with hangovers, and then getting into the drugs. And it was a machine that just would not stop. And I worked at one spot for 10 years, another spot for a few years, another spot for a few years. And the culture was the same every single one. You know what I mean? Chef Ramsay is on records talking about why somebody asked him in an interview, why is the restaurant culture so toxic in some places or most places? There's the toxic culture, and then there's the other culture where, the older people, the people that aren't doing drugs and drinking or partying, they're hanging out, they're going to events together, they become really good friends. But then once you stop working there, it's like you were never friends again. I've had hundreds of coworkers in my lifetime in the restaurant business, the casino business. We'd be hanging out, going to wrestling events, dinner, whatever the fuck, right? They quit or get fired. You stay in touch for a little while, and then it just disappears. You know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time. And that's one side of it, but then the other side is the toxic, the working till 2 a.m, bartending, house parties. Young people, older people. Man, I worked at one spot. There was more Vicodin and more drugs than there was food, and I couldn't resist it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And to get to the first part, I'm not sure why most of the restaurant business has that, I don't want to use the word classification, but has that
a stigma,
that stereotype.
Yeah, because it's true.
There's a lot of drinking. There is a lot of drug related. Is it because of the long hours, the late hours, the stress? I mean, that could definitely play a toll on it. Is it because most places, if not restaurants or bars, you're open late. So like you said, you get off of work.
You're all wound up.
You stay there for a little bit, you drink a little bit, you do whatever else you decide to do, then you leave. You go to another place, then you leave, they close, then you go to a house. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was in my era, there was no stopping for me.
No.
I mean, I started in the morning and went to the next morning.
So let's touch on that
when it
for
got
a quick,
bad.
Let's touch on that for a quick, Russ.
Sure.
So I'm on the open. I'm recorded a few podcast episodes, stories, all that kind of stuff. Like my story's out there. I got in trouble 10 years ago. And we'll get into a little bit more, but I want to hear more about yourself. 10 years ago, it's actually coming up to the anniversary. June will be, for me, June will be June 15th will be 10 years when I finally got put down. I got in trouble, and it was in Old Forge. It was a blessing that I was in town.
I know that. Well, yeah, I know the whole story because I've heard you say it before. We talked a little bit on the podcast. I've heard you on other podcasts and yours, but I mean, I know the story because I know you. I remember the whole story, and not to smile about it, but in a way,
it was a blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing,
because it was going to be
the way
worse
you tell
than
the
that.
story about it, the way you said it, and like who it involves and everything, it has even the worst times of our life has some funny parts.
Yeah. So for my, any new listeners of the Food Fight podcast, I just want to give a quick background to myself, and then we're going to get in the rest of the story. So one of the main reasons that we're here is to talk about our recovery stories, how we changed our lives all these years ago. Two knuckleheads from Old Forge, a few years apart from each other, growing up, blocks from each other, living different lives, but yet it was intertwined It was intertwined the whole entire time, and we were a product of our lifestyle for a while, and it was hard for me to get away from it, and it was hard for you to get away from it. But for me to get away from it, I needed to be taken away from it. And the only way that was going to happen was by getting in trouble, because I got a DUI in January of 14 or January of 15. I was writing that ROR bail from Luzerne County, not thinking it was a problem, because I got the DUI 2 months later, because I wasn't visibly intoxicated when I got into a little of a car accident. But the blood work doesn't lie. And I couldn't fight it. I was never in trouble before, so I was going to get ARD, which is the fast rehabilitation, all that kind of stuff. But I didn't make it. Fast forward to June, got arrested I was in a blackout for a couple of days, and I remember a little bit of it. Instead of going to my house, I went to my neighbor's house, Officer Kim Buggy, Old Forge police officer. And I lived in this neighborhood my whole life. I grew up on George Street. You grew up on
Gray Street.
Up the street.
Right around the corner.
At this time, I was living on Mary Street by Rocco, in his old apartment, and Kim's house was in the backyard. And instead of going to my place, I went to her house. I went into her shed, took some stuff out of it, put it on the ground. Now, the older neighbor who knew me and Rocco when we were little knuckleheads running around town causing trouble, she knew me my whole life. And she's an older lady, and she's watching me, this chaos going on between her house and Kim's house. And me in the backyard, me yelling at kids in the driveway. There weren't kids there. I was so out of it. By this time in my addiction, I was abusing Adderall. I was up for days at a time. I would go to the casino and deal cards for days, and black out in my car and black out in the room of my apartment, and not think it was nuts, and
by that time, to you, it was normal.
My brain, that warped my brain so much. I was 170 pounds. I was a shell of myself. I was so weak. Like if I fell on the ground, I probably would have broke my back. So my older neighbors watching me do all this. I'm screaming at kids that aren't there. I'm yelling at dogs. I'm drunk. I'm stoned. I'm so out of it. Like 3-4 day bender. Like I'm seeing shadow people. Like I'm insane, right? I only remember bits and pieces of it. I tried getting into Kim's house with my key. I remember my Eagle key, trying to get in with her. Like, why isn't my door opening? But when people look at that, they think I'm trying to break in. My neighbor is watching, the other neighbor's watching me, hearing me saying this. Like she told the cops, I think he thought it was his old place. And I did. Doesn't justify what I did.
No, right.
But it was the reason why I was doing it.
You thought you were going into your old...
I thought I was going to my house. And I walked, and then I used to do my laundry in Rocco's mother's basement, was the corner of Mary Street there. So I remember Kim arrested me walking down the street holding a Yankee garbage can, a bath mat, and something else that I took from the basement. Walking around the street, and she arrested me at gunpoint.
A
Yankee garbage can and a rolled up bat mat a bath mat.
Like that you would stick on the tub. Okay.
I don't know what the fuck was going on with that, right? And yeah, so I did all that. And quick funny story about Rocco's basement. We were cleaning it out the one years later, just going back maybe a few years ago. I've been sober for a long time. We're going through the basement. I find a glass bong with a frog on it. Rocco goes, "Is this the frog bong from when we were like in the 90s?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Why is it down here?" I go, "I probably hit it in one of my blackouts."
And found it that long later.
He just laughed. It was just tucked in, right? But so I get arrested. Absolutely insane scene. I go to the police station. We're trying to get in touch with Rocco's mother because the lead charge was burglary for me taking the bath mats out of the fucking basement. So we couldn't get in touch with her. So I went to the police station. Jason DeBurnis, Chief DeBurnis comes over, gives me a little slap. Hey, what the fuck's going on, bro? I play football together, grew up together.
Right.
I looked at him. I looked at Kim. I said, I need fucking help. I'm done. I should have got help when I got the DUI. My mother was right there. I was in the hospital, and I didn't say a fucking word. I blamed work. I blamed the hours, working swing shift. And she believed me. She ate it up. She didn't want to believe her baby was in trouble, you know?
No.
And, man, I broke down. I was coming to a little bit. I understand that what was going on a little bit. And I was a broken man in that police station. And what a place for it to happen, because it was in town. It was what people I knew and grew up with. And they had, believe it or not, they had my best interest at heart. I told them I needed help, and they helped me. Kim helped me by pressing full charges. You might think that's crazy. You're pressing full charges. How's pressing full charges on you helping you? Because it took, why it helped me? Put me in jail for the night. That was it. When I came to the next morning, when I waited for my bail to come through, when I sat up, I was in that cell by myself, and I looked around, and I told myself, no way. I'm never fucking coming back here. I'm not sure what I did. I wasn't sure what was going on. It was like 5 days. That was insane, right? I'm not really sure what's going on or why I'm here or what the repercussions are going to be here. But I know for one fact, I'm looking out the window while people are going crazy out there. I'm like, I'm not coming back here. This is horrible. I'm in the orange jumpsuit, bend over and cough, all that shit, eating horrible food. It was disgusting, Russ. I never wanted to experience it again. And then when I was in the recovery field, people going back and forth, the jail was insane to me. I know it was my wake-up call. It was my rock bottom. I needed to never go back there. So long story short, I went to rehab. But the summer in the rehab, I got put on Lackawanna County Treatment Court. People say it's a trap. Absolutely saved my life. It was a program where a couple of years, drug tests, recovery, meetings, a second chance at life to get my charges dismissed and my record expunged. And that took years to happen, but I surrendered to everything. I wanted to get better. I'm a big believer in, if you want to do something, you have to want to do it. It's not going to happen by itself if you don't do it. And I'm also not a person that believes in the disease concept. I just don't. And that could be a very controversial conversation. Everything that I did was my choices. When I got to rehab and they started telling me that, it's not your fault, it's a disease, your brain's warped, I get that. But I still chose to eat those Adderalls. Years before that, I chose to eat those Vicodins and then Suboxones and then Coke and everything else that I used to do. I made those decisions. And then when I decided to detox myself off of the Vicodins for, I'm sure you've been there, 3-4 days, your stomach's acting up and, might have one of those General Soul's 4 a.m. mornings, you know what I mean, where your stomach's bothering you. But 3-4 days later, your body starts to get normal. But now it's your brain. I didn't know how to stay sober. I didn't know how to stop because I didn't know how to enjoy my life without being messed up. I couldn't watch TV normal. I don't want to be on my computer smoking cigarettes being normal. I had to be on some kind of drug, whether it was pot, Xanax. Xanax is my underlying addiction, But I didn't know how to stay sober until I got sober in rehab, AA meetings for years and years and years. And I was lucky enough I played the course. I got my charges dismissed. I got my record expunged, and I changed my life. But it took hard work and dedication to do it. I had to suffer because I deserved it. I was paying my penance.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Paying my penance. I deserved to go through that.
I say that a lot. I say that statement a lot. I say that word a lot. It's my penance that I had to go through.
Yeah.
And I use that a lot. But not to interrupt you.
No, you're good, man. I wanted to give the listeners just a brief story about my background and why we're talking about this. And you have an amazing story as well. And I know we talked about it a little bit, but I never heard it I don't know the origins of it, like
Well,
what the origins of it. You know
first
how much
of
you want
all-
to talk about it.
Oh no, I talk about it.
Yeah,
I talk about
it's
100%.
important because someone, if one person hears this
Right.
episode and it helps them,
Right.
that's all that matters. That's why I'm vocal about it.
You're super vocal about it, and it's really, you know, wonderful that you are. And a lot of the people who are like us, and I know a lot of them, and the ones who are clean, alive, and sober today, they are super vocal as well. And they tell their story. They reach out to people. People reach out to them. They support people. They talk to people. They help people. And I think that has a lot to do with my sobriety. I think that has a lot to do with yours, and I think that's a lot to do with a lot of people in sobriety, because as you continue to help other people, you're still helping yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I cut you off, and like I said, I didn't mean to, you said you put a lot of hard work in to your sobriety. And it's not that it's over, because you have to put that work in. I feel you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say that. I feel I have to. But I would think you and anyone else who wants to stay sober on a daily basis, for me to stay sober, it's a work I put in every minute, every day.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit the bad times and you start thinking and things start creeping up in your head, I've had nights before recently. I could say a week ago, I've had nights before where I'm leaving the restaurant and you always have that hanging on your I always have that hanging on the side of my brain. Well, you could just have one, just a sip, just this, just that. And someone said to me, but you're 14 years sober. Like, it has to get easier. I said, well, there's some days that are easy. There's some days that are hard. Just because I'm 14 years sober, it doesn't mean life is just, you know, life's
You don't
not just
wake up and forget about it.
Life's just not a garden every day for me. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I could only speak about what I do to stay sober, how I stay sober, the steps and measures I take, you know, the places I put myself in and the places I don't put myself in anymore, the people I put myself around and I don't put myself around anymore. Not that I blame any other person
Right, I agree
for
with that.
my stuff, because like you just said, I am 100% responsible for my own actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt that way since I got sober. Before I was sober, the blame game was on everybody else. I blamed this. I blamed my childhood. I blamed my ex-wife. I blamed my girlfriends. I blamed my friends. I blamed everybody but me. Once you get sober and you're clear and you can see in front of you again, I realized there's one problem. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I looked at. Mm-hmm. So for me, I do a lot of, I went through a lot of the things you just said. Now, to touch base on myself a little bit, I'm 14 years sober in 3 months. My sobriety date was just January 17th. I got sober in 2011. I was drinking my entire life. I started drinking in 5th grade. That's the first time I got drunk. I was at a Super Bowl party. I had vodka, peach schnapps, and I think orange juice.
I feel like peach schnapps and orange juice is the drink that your parents just give you to shut you up. Because I used to get the same thing when I was younger.
We were at a
So
Super
good.
Bowl party
Yeah.
at a friend's house. I was in 5th grade. They were on like 7th, 8th, 9th. And we were raiding the parents' liquor cabinet. This, you know, most of the same stories. Parents are out on vacations. Sure. Parents are gone away. So, you know. But anyways, and since then, I drank my entire life up until January 16th was my last night, 2011. Now, did I have good years and bad years? Did I have some years where I didn't drink as much? Yeah, obviously. My addiction and my alcoholism started at a young age. Those whole years, probably 24 years that I went through it, I wasn't off the rails the whole time. My time off the rails was from around 2007 to October of 2010 until finally my last 2 months until I got until January of 11. I mean, I had a long history of drinking, but then when I got into about 2007, 2008, those early years, that's when I start really using drugs. And my drug of choice was cocaine. And obviously, for me, in the business I'm in, but not blaming the business, what we just talked about, late hours, a lot of drinking. By the time I got done, 1, 2 in the morning, if I've already drank a bottle by then, a bottle and a half.
Time to wake up.
Well, now you're tired.
Yeah, time to wake up. Cocaine's insane how that
so
works.
that would always play into basically my normal night routine. And until it got to the point where it was 2 in the morning, then waking up doing it, then doing it in the afternoon, then doing it at nighttime. Because by the time I got so far into it, you couldn't even stay up without it. Because it was the booze, it was the cocaine, it was the working, it was the going out, it was the long hours, it was the no sleep, and it's just a recipe for hell. It was a recipe for hell and disaster, you know? So I remember I didn't get in any trouble. I didn't get, in any type of legal, ramifications or any type of that. I was sitting in my place in 2016, and I realized at that point, for the sake of myself, but it was mainly for my son. My son at the time was 2.5 years old. That was the night where I said, this has to be.
You say 2016, that year wrong?
No, 2010.
Okay.
Was going into my last year, 2011.
Okay.
January 16th, 2011.
Okay.
That was the last night I was in my restaurant.
Okay.
That was the last night I had a drink or a drug.
What went through your mind that night?
I had a little bit of I had a little bit of an awakening. I really did. I was trying to get sober for about a month.
What were you trying to do?
By getting sober,
Mm-hmm.
not the right things.
What were you doing?
Well, I was trying to stretch out instead of drinking every day, I was drinking every other day.
I got you. Okay.
But then you couldn't go that long because I began sick.
Shakes.
You know what I mean? Like I remember there was nights on my mother's kitchen floor because I was back to living at her house then for about maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. I mean, I was on my mother's floor. I was shaking. I was throwing up. I would just, it was horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
But that night, I realized that this is it. I have to stop. There's no other way. I know we were just talking last night on your page. It was either sobriety or death.
Sobriety or death.
And I didn't want to die mainly, number one, for my kid. And until I realized, and we've mentioned this before too, until I realized that I had to get sober for myself so I could be better for me, so I could be better for him. But that night I quit drinking for him because I couldn't go on being the person I was anymore. And I wasn't a bad father. I don't want to say that, but I wasn't a good dad back then. I wasn't involved. I was with them and we were hanging out. He was young, two and a half. But I didn't want to continue this way, and I didn't want to die because I didn't want my son to grow up without me. And I had a little bit of an awakening, a little bit of an epiphany, if you want to say it, and something came to me that night, and it just gave me a feeling of safety and a feeling of it's time to do this. And it was just a feeling, and it was just a presence, and it was just, an energy that I never had of help, confidence, security. And I woke up the next day, and for the next 3 days, they were probably three of the worst days of my life because that's it. I didn't have a drink. I didn't have a drug. And my body was now craving. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I made it through those first few days, But after that, that's when I reached out. I never went away to rehab. I was never like overnight in rehab. But I told you the last time we talked, I did a lot of outpatient treatment. A very good friend of mine in our family, he's passed now. He was the director of the Scranton Counseling Center, Tony Pirro.
I know Tony.
Fantastic guy. I can't even tell you the number of people he helped over the years. He helped me a lot. I did a lot of outpatient with him. I did a lot of just one-on-ones. I'd go to his house. I'd meet him for coffee. Call me for whatever you need. And then I would be doing some outpatient and some meetings at Clearbrook. A lot of great guys that were down there at the time. Nick Colangelo, Dick Conaboy.
I was in Clearbrook for my treatment in 15. So
to this day, I still talk to those guys. Nick Colangelo, when he comes into the restaurant, he was good friends with my father. Dick Conaboy. Like these are gentlemen that they would tell me then and now, you need me any time of the day. Pick the phone up. Call me. I'll answer. You want me to come and get you? You want to come up here? It's better you see me instead of a bottle, instead of a drug. I'll help you get you through it. Fantastic guys. Mm-hmm. And I feel that like I've done that too over the years for certain people. I definitely feel that you've done that for people. And that's going back to the beginning of this story. For me, helping people like they helped me and still do like on a continued basis, that's a big thing that helps me still stay sober because I enjoy helping people. I enjoy talking to people about it. I enjoy hearing their success, like your success story. Although we know each other very well and we grew up 4 houses away from each other, I want to see you succeed just as much as I want to hear that the guy on the street that I never even met succeed. Just because the more people who have that type of outcome, life, sobriety, for themselves in their own situations, I don't need to know you, but I'm happy. Like we said the other night on social media, for the people we don't know, I'm happy they're still alive. I'm happy they're still sober because of them being alive and sober just like we are. We're here for our families. We're here for ourselves. I couldn't go now and for my last 14 and 3 months thinking, God forbid, I mess up and go back to that. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you the devastation that I would feel that I did to myself, first of all, and that I did to my son. But I only try and stay sober. I know it's going to sound cliche. I only try and stay sober 24 hours a day. If tomorrow comes, and I hope it does for all of us, I'll get up that day and fight to be sober. I only want to be sober today. Mm-hmm. I want to be sober this morning, this afternoon, tonight. When I wake up tomorrow, I want to be sober tomorrow too, but I'm not even thinking about tomorrow. I'm only thinking about today. I just want to stay sober today. And if tomorrow gets here, I want to stay sober tomorrow too. But for right now, let's just focus on today.
People in recovery will always say that about one time a day. Because it's,
well, that's why I said it sounds cliche.
Right. As an active alcoholic or addict, you don't want to fucking hear that. But when you start to get sober and you start to get some clarity back, the people that what I'm trying to get at is the people who really, really, truly understand one day at a time are people like us who went through it.
I had a guy
because
tell
it really
me one time,
was, man, 1 hour at a time some days.
I hear that a lot. I don't know if we have the same energy going on because you're taking stuff out of my mouth.
We've been there, bro. We know.
I was just going to say, I met a guy once, and he's another fantastic guy. He's in sobriety. Sean Bingham from Westside. Can't even tell you the amount of people he's helped and the things he's done in the sobriety world. I remember him telling me one time, if you have to fight to stay sober for a minute, fight. A minute.
Yeah.
And then that next minute, fight again. Mm-hmm. He used to tell me, and I'm great friends. My whole family's great friends with his family. We know each other.
Jimmy Bingham too, right?
Yeah.
I used to work with Jimmy. The biker guy with the tattoo. Yeah.
The whole family.
Smaller version of the Undertaker, Jimmy was.
but still a big guy.
Oh, 100%.
Right,
But
still a big
Undertaker's
guy.
like 7 foot though. Jimmy wasn't 7 feet. So, but
The whole family, Jimmy, Sean, Joe, Bobby, their sisters. I mean, they're just a wonderful family. But I remember Sean telling me that if you have to fight for a minute, fight for that minute, he said.
I agree.
Because sometimes that might be all you have.
I agree. Russ, I'm going to go back. I got some points about your story you talked about.
Sure.
The big thing is the escalation of the drug and alcohol use. Think about that. Starts off with, I used to start eating Vicodins at the restaurant I worked at nighttime just to make the days go past. Anyway, you want a couple of Vikes, make the shift go by? Yeah, sure, no problem, right? A couple of days a week, I would take them for work. That was it, right? I realized how good my cigarettes taste while I was on them, how good I felt on them. And then I'm like, I want to feel this way when I leave work. So I buy a couple extra, right? Then a couple of weeks later or a month later, I'm waking up to them. Afternoon, I'm taking them. Work, I'm taking them. No, I'm not eating right. We talked about weight. Let's get into our fitness and weightlifting life, because my drug use affected that. And this gets back into the escalation that you were talking about. A little bit of coke here, a little bit of booze there. Now it's like the script flips. Now there's a lot of cocaine. Now there's a lot of booze. And then you get too much booze. And then cocaine's miracle drug is somehow it sucks the alcohol out of your system. But in reality, it's still there. But the cocaine's just taking over the brain waves and you're functioning like, it's just, that's insane to me. That's how dangerous that is. And that's that. I had that addictive personality, so I want more of it. I want more of it.
That's why that drug.
That's why Adderall was better.
That's why that drug for me at that time was perfect, because it instantly, mentally
right
you're not, but you think you're sober, but it instantly it instantly wakes you right back, so, and you just go.
That was the attraction I had to the Adderall I was eating, because I used to like doing cocaine back in the day, but only for a night, because I used to hate the come down. Used to hate it. Couldn't imagine doing it every day, so I didn't, because I didn't like the come down. So the come down overtook it. Plus being able to find it back in the day wasn't the easiest thing too sometimes, right? But then, years later, somebody gave me an Adderall. I'm like, I used to do it. I'll take an Adderall. And I was like, whoa, I'm in my 30s now. This is hitting a little bit different. Work's really fun. I get home, I'm like, I'm still wired. Because I used to be the downer guy. Pot, opiates, I want to relax and be mellow. Now I'm going 155 fucking miles an hour every day, all day and I had no chill, Russ.
And you're still working the casino this time,
4 days in a row, I would eat Adderall and I'd be up seeing shadow people. That's the escalation. I couldn't get enough of it. I was a pure addict.
Well, that's when you're up that line, that's when you start hallucinating.
Right. You mentioned too, the routine. That's what keeps people from making changes in their lives, whether it's, for an example, quitting cigarettes for myself. I smoked cigarettes for 20 years. You a cigarette smoker back in the day?
I was.
Back in the day. Yeah, back in the day. So I smoked.
I quit smoking on my mother's birthday, 2012.
Right. Best thing you ever did, right? Besides getting sober.
Might have been the first best thing I ever did, because I'll be honest with you, I was smoking.
The difference you feel is incredible.
Well, when I was drinking and using, I was probably smoking four packs of cigarettes a day.
Whew.
Now, but there was times I was lighting them. I put them in the thing, and then I had one or two burn, and I light another one. So was I really smoking four?
I used to light one with the end of the other one.
They were all over the place.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I am so glad that I quit smoking. Now, my father died from lung cancer. He came back. He had it 3 times. The first 2 times he beat it. The third time he couldn't beat it because he was older. He was already worn down from it, and it was just, that's another reason why I quit smoking. But I did smoke while my father was in recovery for lung cancer for years. You know what I mean?
What I was getting at, Russ, was the routine of quitting cigarette smoking. Holy shit. I used to smoke after a shower, go outside and sit on my recliner outside on the porch with a cigarette after my shower.
When I first
wake up in the mornings,
when I first got sober and I was in the gym for my first year, I think I told you this. My favorite cigarette, because I smoked 1 year.
Right after you lift, right?
I'd walk out of the gym for some reason, and I have no idea why I did this. And to some people, are going to be like, "This is disgusting." I used to drink my cigarette tasted so good with my vanilla protein
That's disgusting.
milkshake. Completely disgusting. But when I walked out of the gym, the first thing I did, I wasn't even breathing. I couldn't even catch my breath. I'd shake my drink up. I'd walk right out the gym. I had my bag on me. Now this is right when I'm sober, but I'm smoking, I'm chugging my drink. That was my favorite cigarette. My second one was in the morning when you got up with a cup of coffee.
Yeah. My body, when I decided to quit smoking, the difference every day was just a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And it's like, how was I doing this for over 20 years, Because it was the addiction of it.
I smoked from 8th grade to 24.
Yeah.
Then I quit. And then once I started abusing, like I said, I got really bad. And then I smoked for another 4 years. Mm-hmm. So I think probably in my whole life, I probably smoked for about 14, maybe 15 years.
I smoked for a few more years when I got sober. And then I decided, when I got a new apartment, I couldn't smoke inside. I immediately started smoking less. I noticed that after about a few months, I'm like, let's just quit. And then smoked a few a day, took the patch for about 2 weeks. That was it. And then went back.
I absolutely hate cigarettes.
I can't stand it now.
I hate it.
I can't stand it now.
I hate them. I would.
I get sinus infection smelling the smoke every once in a while.
I don't think I would ever. I'd start drinking before I start smoking again.
I would too.
There's no. I'm not going to do either one of them today.
Yeah.
But cigarettes, I'll tell you, I hate the smell of them. I hate the taste of them. I don't even like looking at them.
I don't know what I wrote down there. Anyways, I'm not sure what I wrote down there, Russ. It was a good note, but I can't read that word right there. So I'll go to my next note.
Yeah.
Detoxing on our own without help. Fucking insane. That's what I got into. Like piggybacks off of the routine from being an addict. When I would quit cold turkey, I sit home for a couple of days, be sick for a couple of days after Vicodins withdrawal, right? Call off of work, prepare for it. But in the meantime, I was still eating Xanax. I was still smoking marijuana. But I was trying to get off the Vicodins. But the Vicodins, the euphoric feeling I got from them took over. No.
So before you got in trouble and before you had...
There was 10 years of escalation. There was always something.
So there was times in your life where you tried...
Probably dozens of times. I would quit for days.
Okay, right.
I'd quit for days, but then I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Like I said earlier, I didn't know how to stay sober. I didn't go to AA. I tried to do it my own, but I got bored. My routine was fucked up, and I didn't give it enough time to develop that new routine. So when I went to rehab, I was like, oh, thank God I am somewhere now where I'm not. I just need to be removed from stuff.
Right.
I have that addictive personality, but if it's in front of me,
take yourself out of the
situation.
situation.
If it's in front of me, I'm going to keep on doing it because not because I don't have self-control. I mean, I guess, but I just fucking wanted to do it. People ask me, and I'm going to ask you the same question is, why did you start doing drugs? Why did you do this? My father was sick with depression when I was younger, right? I got in trouble with school. The drug dogs found fucking pot in my car. It was fucking bullshit that was, right? But I get home today and my father's like, is this because of me? I'm like, no, Dad. I do it because my friends offered it to me. I smoked it. I liked it. Where'd you learn how to do that? I'm like, fucking DARE. The DARE program taught me all about marijuana when I was a kid. Showed us joints. Don't smoke this joint. I wanted to know what a joint was if I didn't go into the DARE program. You know what? The fucking DARE program was right. They were right. I posted a meme about that a few days ago.
I didn't see it.
The lion or the tiger was like, I'm disappointed in all of you. I'm like, I'm so sorry I failed you. But you were right.
You were right.
But you were right.
He wasn't right back then, but
I needed
right
to
now.
be removed from the situation. I needed to be put down. And that's what happened to me. Me going to rehab, me being there for a month. I begged Dick Connerboy for an extra week. I'm like, I'm not ready to go home yet. I was terrified to go home.
Again, I love Dick Connerboy.
I had to face all of
I love all those guys.
Yeah, I had to face all of my consequences when I went home. I remember talking to my counselor, Kevin, and I told him, I go, I'm ashamed to go home. He goes, why are you ashamed? I go, I'm ashamed of what I did. He goes, are you ashamed or are you embarrassed? What's the difference? And the way he explained it to me was, he goes, if you're ashamed, something that's a shame, that means that how did he explain it? Like, you're a bad person who did something wrong. Embarrassed is you're a good person who did something that was wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Like,
makes sense. And he also says,
if you were ashamed, it feels like it. He's like, he explained to you, like, it's a little more personable.
yeah.
Right.
So that made me feel a little bit better. And I said, people are going to want to hear about my shit. He goes, listen, he goes, I get that. He goes, but he said this something else. He goes, what's a problem for me might not be a problem for you, but it's still a problem for me. And you can't knock that down. People will be like, oh, my problems aren't as bad as yours. Your problems are as bad as they are for you, the way they are for you. Doesn't matter if somebody else has the misfortune, because that's their misfortune. It's not your fault that they're doing that or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that made me feel a lot better too. When I came home, I tell you what, man, my friends, Rocco was right next to my side. We're friends for our whole lives. You know what I mean? And I turned my back on him when I was running and gunning with that kind of stuff, what I was doing, but I never got to the point where I hurt my friends physically, emotionally, well, maybe emotionally, financially. I wasn't stealing off my parents, but I was getting there. Getting to the point where, like, I was making good money at work, but it was just kept on going out. And that lifestyle was just so hard. I screwed up my eBay business and everything, man. How did it affect when you started getting really deep into it? What was your role with the restaurant at this point?
Same as it is now. I mean, I was always, it's a family-owned business.
Mm-hmm.
We've had always had a lot of our family work there. A lot of the same employees from then, I still have a lot of them now.
Did they know you were the way you were back then, like an addict, or did you hide it well?
Probably in the beginning, going back to what you said about routine, probably in the beginning, it was just my routine. But, and that's a big but, it didn't take long, but probably a good 6 months into it, out of the whole 4 years, they knew.
Did it get
I think after 6 months, everybody knew. I mean, it escalated so like extravagant and so fast, and it just took off and kept going, and it was like a train, unstoppable.
Yeah.
And no matter what got in my way, just kept going.
And the
just
train
went
kept
through it.
on,
Just
kept on adding cars to it every time it keeps on
just
fucking going down the
kept
tracks.
going. Probably during the whole time of it. Now, again, I've had people like during the time of it come to me, be like, Russ, you know, it might be, you okay? You know, you need any help? Might be time. Not many, but some. But that's when it was really like, it was like steaming ahead.
Right. And we don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anyone telling me. I don't want to hear anybody telling me anything that was going on. I knew, but I would just do it again. The Adderall, Russ, ate my soul away, bro. I'd be on that for 3 to 4 days, seeing shadow people. I'd finally eat after I'd come down. I'd have a whole work schedule. I would start eating Adderall when I had 2 days of work left for the week. Because I would just stay up for 2 days and go deal cards like a maniac, right? Then day 3 would come, I'd be home. Now I'm running and gunning on the websites, finding the girls, you know what I mean? Going out, hanging out with guys that are doing the same drugs that I'm doing now. And it was just the scene. This kept on getting worse week after week after week because I kept on chasing that Adderall high. You know what I mean? I'm so lucky that I didn't get into the meth because I did it once or twice. And I did meth first time I ever
did it.
I did it twice.
I'm glad I never
did it twice. And the first time I did it, I snorted a little bump like this, Russ. Felt like I snorted little razor blades that had jackhammers on them that were jackhammering my nose and my sinuses. No bullshit. I was high off of that for 3 days. You know what turns people on to the meth? I did that with these 2 guys, right? I did it once with them. I met up with them 3 weeks later to do it again. They were doing it every day. They went from this good-looking couple, right? They were, the good-looking couple. They were a good-looking guy. They cared about their appearance. 3 weeks later, looked like they were, what the fuck's going on, right? Then like a month or so later, 2 different people. It's funny. I met one of them at Clearbrook Rehab years later when I went up there to tell my story. He was in the crowd and he came out and we talked about it and he told me what happened. Like these drug dealers, these meth dealers took over their house, threw them out of their house. It's insane. So that's where I was headed, Russ. These are guys I worked with at a restaurant, and that's what I'm talking about. I met these guys from the restaurant. I didn't like their drug lifestyle, but I ended up getting intertwined with it because now that's what I was doing too. and they would have the house parties, all that kind of stuff. But I stopped. But we're the only three doing the meth for the first time, and watching them turn into these animals almost in a way. They would say the same thing. That's why that drug is so crazy and so cheap, because it lasts so long at first and then a little less. Because the second time I did it wasn't even close. I was like, I got to stop doing this now. I was just lucky that it wasn't present in my life.
Well, I was just going to say that, and I'm going to use the word loosely for myself, lucky. Luckily, for me, my routine stayed the same with the alcohol and the cocaine. And also, luckily, I had, for me, a never-ending supply of it. So maybe that's why I didn't get into anything else.
That's probably why.
Or maybe my personality was just stuck with that. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's just how I like, because that's what made me feel good.
Right.
Because I was going to tell you before, even going back to when I was younger and actually older, but when I mean younger, even in my 20s, there was times, and this is before I was, if you want to use the word, like, I've always been an alcoholic, obviously, but in my 20s when I was controlling it, or it was just like
it was manifesting,
right?
Yeah.
But now that once I got sober, I think about it, and this is going to be to explain where I was going with it. When I was in my 20s, I wasn't able to leave my house to go out with my friends or my girlfriend at the time for the night unless I had a couple drinks. I had to have a couple drinks alone at my house, probably to get the confidence or the comfortability to just get out of my house. And at the time, I was like, well, we're getting ready. I'm doing my hair. I'm pulling my cologne on, a couple drinks.
I smelled the cologne, Russ.
thinking though, back then, like, that's normal.
Yeah, no shit. I know.
Well, everyone's pre-gaming.
You're right.
Right? That's what they call it now.
Yeah.
Everyone's pre-gaming. Mm-hmm. But now that I think back to it, I wasn't pre-gaming. I was getting myself capable to get the guts to walk out that front door and go see people and go out and be somebody I'm really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
think about that,
years.
Russ. In our town, everyone you were going to see were people you grew up with, people hang out every day.
Right. Well, these were my best friends at the time.
Think about that.
Best friends.
So you saying that the constant alcohol use leading up to that,
right?
Got
well,
to the point where, like, I need this to feel normal. Like, were you shaking already, or you weren't there yet?
No, when I was younger?
Yeah, when you were younger,
in my 20s. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just using that as a reference that, like, I thought back then what I was doing was normal.
I understand.
And at the time, guess what? I was like, yeah, it felt normal. But then 20 years later, 15 years later, when I got sober, 35, 36 years old, and sitting here now with you, 48, thinking back, that wasn't normal for me at all. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just having a couple of drinks, but I couldn't leave my house unless I had a couple. As a kid, 16, 17, 18, in my room, sneaking it. I mean, God forbid, my mother was strict. If she found me smoking or drinking back then, she'd kill me.
Yeah.
She never allowed parties at the house. My mother wasn't like that. Jeannie was tough. Mm-hmm. Me and my friends would be at the house. She'd be making sure we're not drinking. She'd be coming in the room. There wasn't any of that going on in my house when I was a kid. My mother was strict.
Me too.
She was tough.
Me too.
But did I sneak it?
Sure.
Of course.
Have to sneak it.
I mean,
what a crazy life leading up to that, man. And then be able to come out now, restaurant successful, kids growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's getting big. He's 16, 17 now?
Be 17
Holy
in
shit.
July.
I remember when Dana was pregnant. My God, that's a long time ago. A whole nother life.
Goes by so fast.
It's a whole nother life.
The absolute greatest thing to ever happen to me in my life is my son being born. I mean, I know parents say that about their children, and there's a lot of great parents out there, a lot of great friends who are great parents,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of great kids. I know a lot of them. But for me, like, that is the absolute best thing that ever happened. My son saved my life.
You also,
I tell him.
That's great. I love hearing that.
I tell him. We talk about it.
I'm sure he loves hearing that.
He does love hearing it, and I'm not bragging about my kid.
Go ahead.
Way better human being than I ever was at his age, 16 years old. He's so intelligent. He's so compassionate. He's so caring. He's kind. He's mannered. I wasn't any of those at his age, and my parents were good to us. Like, My mother was strict. She raised us well. So for me, being not that way has nothing to do with my mother.
I agree
That's
with
just
that
the way
too.
I was.
I agree with that too. My parents, when my father
Right.
asked, my mother asked, I was like, no,
Right.
I just wanted to do it.
Right.
I got curious. I wanted, just like I wanted to play baseball or play football.
I was
wanted to
just
go
that
smoke
kind of
that
kid.
joint behind Dunkin' Donuts. You know
Like,
what I mean?
like my kid. Now, my mom, I told you before we started today, my mom's going to be 83. And my son and my mother have such a wonderful relationship. So anyways, we go with my sisters. This is just a quick story about my son. We go with my sisters 2 weeks ago. Her dog is 14 and a half. He was. God bless him. She had to put him down. So we go up there for dinner. We spend the day with my sister, her husband, my son, my mom, some of the family members. And the next day, the next day she has to put him down. So my son, when we were at my sister's house, now, like I said, my mom's 83. She's in fantastic shape internally, but her body's old. Her body, she's in pain. She's this. My kid goes to the house the next day after school because sometimes if his mom is working, he'll go sit at my mom's house. She lives right up through the field. He wants to stop in the house. He wants to call his Nana. Nana, you weren't feeling good yesterday. Are you okay? How you feeling today? You need me to do anything for you? I mean, it's a 16-year-old kid.
Love that.
Now, is there other 16-year-old kids out there who do that? I'm sure there is. Are they from town in Old Forge? Do I know them? Absolutely. I know a ton of great kids and parents, like I just said, from Old Forge and from out of town, just in our area. But not saying I wasn't a good kid like that. And I loved my grandmother when I was 16. But I don't remember calling my grandma or stopping over her house asking if she was okay. But I always wanted her to be okay. But I'm saying, like, my kid, he'll call my mother. He'll ask me. He texted my sister last week. I heard you had to put Tango down. Because we were there that Sunday. And then my sister contemplated a couple of days about doing it, and then she did it. So he's like, did Aunt Robin have to put Tango? I said, yeah, she did. He texts her that night. He calls her. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
love that.
small things like
Passionate.
that. He is. He's
good.
super passionate. Like I said, best thing that ever happened
And
to me.
that comes from you and Dana raising him.
Yeah,
that way.
and to touch on that, I mean, I try my best with him. I try to spend a lot of time with him, teach him. Although we're separated, and we've been separated now for 16 years, 17 years, but she's a fantastic mom. He absolutely loves his mother. He adores his mother, and she absolutely loves and adores him back. As I say, he's my entire life. He's also hers as well. You know what I mean? I mean,
That's great.
So I think that has a lot to do with him being the kind of kid he is. Although although he's raised in a broken home, I run my house and she runs her house, I think, the same exact way. And he does the same things when he's with me that he does with her.
That's good.
So although we're not there with them together, our teachings and our time is, like we tell him the same stuff, we show him the same stuff, so.
That's great.
He's a great
Thanks
kid.
for sharing that. People are going to like hearing that.
Yeah, he's a great kid, and we're blessed. Also, to give her, I give her a lot of compliments, and he's blessed with her too. I'm also blessed to have a pretty good, agreeable ex-wife.
Yeah. Me and Dana go way back.
Yeah. And we
go
get
way
along
back.
great. So and I think it's the best thing for him, but it's also the best thing for us too.
It is the best thing because there has to be a time where you got to put your differences away for your child. Yeah. And I know that personally, but
right.
I see a lot of single mothers come into the gym, send their kids up. There's no father figures. So now, as an instructor, we take on that role for an hour, 3-4 days a week. And just seeing the kids come in with their head down, a couple months later, heads up, chest is up, no more getting bullied, Speaking of the strength your son gave you to get sober, I remember you telling me a while ago, Anytime Fitness being built across the street from my house, from the restaurant, was the best thing that ever happened.
It was definitely probably the third best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
Probably my son, sobriety,
In the gym opening up
the
across
gym.
the street.
Well, the gym for me, when I got sober, January 17, 2011, I joined the gym March 4th of that same year, 6 weeks later. Now you got to remember one thing. When I got sober, I was 113 pounds.
Wow. I think I remember you posted a picture this, last month.
Yeah, I did. Well, when I
Your hair might have weighed more than your body. Oh, the gel in there.
for the amount of hair I
We
had,
used to slick.
then
I used to
I don't
love
have
slick.
any
I used to
now.
love slicking back the hair, bro.
I love slicking it. That's why I don't have any now, I think. Amongst other things. Probably a little stress, a little heredity, you know.
Yeah, a little bit of cocaine, you know.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sniff that right off there.
But I got into the gym, and I got into the gym because when I was first going to some of my meetings, you know, talking to some of those people, and to bring their names up again, like Mr. Pirro, Mr. Colangelo, Mr. Conboy, they were like, yeah, you should try and shift your addiction and your energy. And Russ, you're going to be sober. You're going to have a lot of free time. Shift that into something positive, whether it's spending time with your kid, whether it's working, whether it's meeting new people, maybe going new, because just because you're sober doesn't mean you can't just lock yourself in the house.
Right, you got to live your life.
Yeah,
you got to find out how to live your life. What's the new thing going to be?
Right.
And sometimes it's a new addiction.
Right, you have to find. Well, that's the other thing. I may not use alcohol or drugs anymore, but my personality is always going to be an addictive personality. Just these days, and for the past 14 years and a few months, I just try and put that addiction towards something positive. Whether it's I spend a lot of time with my kid, as much free time as I possibly could. I spend a lot of time in the gym, and obviously I have to spend a lot of time at work because that's my lifestyle. That's my livelihood. But when I got into the gym, I got in, like I said, March 4th, 6 weeks sober, and I never looked back. The only times I was out of the gym in those 14 years is when I got really sick with COVID in 2023. Or I'm sorry, 2022. I got really sick with COVID, and I was out for about maybe 9-10 months.
No shit.
Oh yeah. I got COVID in January of 2022. I was 100. I'm like probably what I am now, about 197 pounds, and I went down to 148.
No shit.
It was
wow.
It was months long. I was in the hospital for a lot of tests. They were testing things on my head, my stomach, my lungs, my kidneys, my gallbladder. They did a bunch of different tests. Came back, nothing. Everything they tested, I was fine. They weren't sure. Nobody knew what it was. Was it the long-lasting effects of COVID? I don't know what it was. But then I got back in the gym. And about 2 months ago, I hurt my back, and I took about another 2 months off, but now I've been back in for a little bit. So, like I said, those are the only times that I got out of the gym. But fitness, that place opening up, the people who I knew that were going there, friends of mine, like Ryan Ciccoletti Bear, that was our thing. Billy Hoover. And then we met a lot of great people who came in there, people from Old Forge and other people from town. I remember going back, Dr. Zambetti, the chiropractor.
Yeah.
I remember back then we had a group of guys. I don't know if you remember.
I come in every once in a while at nighttime. I would come in.
Billy Hoover started it. He called it because we all went in at like 11 midnight. That's when we went in. And he started calling us the third shift misfits. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
We had shirts made.
I remember.
We had hats made, tank tops, hoodies. We had all kind of stuff made. We were giving it away to people.
I love that.
It was a pretty, unique, but also very fun. It was fun. Because now when I met those people, some I knew, some I didn't. Me and Bear go back to 4 years old. We know each other 44 years. And for the people you knew and the people that we met, it was just, it was something new. It was something fun. It was something positive, but it was something healthy. And I ran with it, and I got super addicted to it, and I stayed super addicted to it. And it's been fantastic for my sobriety. It's been fantastic for my health. My son comes every now and then with me, Now he's getting a little bit older,
He's branching out a little bit.
Right, I try and spend as much time with him as I could. But, 16, 17, he's going to,
Yeah.
But that's normal. But, I mean, the gym has done things for me that I couldn't have wrote in a book.
I agree.
I agree. I couldn't have wrote it if they gave me all the material. I couldn't have wrote down everything that it's done for me in the past 14 years and 4 months.
No, it's great,
It's
Russ.
one of the best things.
And I always tell this part of my sobriety, my sober story is when I knew when my addiction took over my life is when I was at Core Fitness doing shoulder presses. I was waiting for my guy to get back to me with my pills.
Wait, you were at the gym
At the
during
gym.
your addiction?
Yeah, during my right when my addiction was still newer, but I was still functioning. I was
See, the last time I was in the gym, I was 17, and then I didn't get back in until
I was in great
17 years
shape.
later.
I was lifting a lot. I was in great shape, right? But then I started doing the pills, the Vicodins. But I would wait. You got to the point where sometimes they would, I'm lifting right now. I'll come get them later, maybe tomorrow. They wasn't as important to me. But at this particular moment, I'm doing shoulder presses. I feel the phone vibrate. Put the weights down in the middle of the set. Take out the phone. Check the text message. Hey, I got those. I'm going to meet you right now. I'm on my way. Got my phone up. I got my water bottle, and I left the gym. Had to come back in to get my keys out of the locker. I forgot them because I was only cared about those pills.
Right,
I went to the gym I went to the gym so I'd be close to Scranton and hope that he messaged me. But I didn't realize that it was going to win that time. And it stayed the victor for years after that. I didn't go to a gym for years. Every once in a blue, I didn't go to the gym regularly for years after that. I started coming to the gym again when I got sober in 15. I started coming to Anytime Fitness. And
I remember when
Tom Smith was there. You know,
yeah,
Tom Smith.
Tom Smith is great.
He's going to come on the podcast.
Oh, he's
and we're
fantastic.
So food-wise,
Love him.
I'm going to debate supplements with him because they're all trash, and he sells them, and I get him all fired up. I'm like, that test booster don't work. It's not a real test booster. The only test boosters that work are the illegal ones or the TRT that everyone's doing now. You know what I mean? So he's going to come on and we're going to debate that. We're supposed to come on when I was doing them at my house, but we're going to switch things around a little bit. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that was the whole crew back in the day.
Tom Smith is a wonderful guy, and he's a very guy. He's deep into faith too. He is. He's deep into God.
He really is.
Which I don't think I mentioned it, and I'm sorry, but he was one of the big saviors for me as well.
How important? I'm going to tell my quick God story real fast, and I want to hear how important it was to you. Was a few months sober. I left my house. I was back living with my mother up on Bridge Street, and I was seeing a girl at the time, and she had a flat tire or something. Right? I was going to help her. So I left my house. I'm going down towards Derriere with Town Tavern to be on my right. You know how like people come out of that side street from Tops. This guy came. I'm driving down. This guy comes out. He doesn't fucking stop. Big work van. Boom. Hits me in the side of the door. Pushes my car all the way in the Town Tavern. Remember, I came to, cigarettes burning on the floor. I put that out. I crawled out of the passenger side seat, and I was sitting behind the car. That was all right afterwards, but I remember the guy was laughing about it. What a piece of trash. You know, he was on the phone. So he whatever, right? But I'm in the hospital. My back was bothering me. Remember, the first thing I did in the ambulance was say, don't give me any drugs. I'm like a fucking week sober. Let me fucking die here. You know? So I remember I'm in the hospital. There's a glass in my arm from here all the way up here, right? I'm laying in the bed in the hallway. I'm just looking at the ceiling. I'm like, fuck. I always believed in God. I've been through up at St. Mary's, you know, but I wasn't a practice. I didn't practice my religion or my belief, right? I'm laying there. I go, why didn't you just fucking finish me off? I've been a piece of shit for the last few years. I've gave nobody anything. I've done nothing good for anybody. I go, why don't you just fucking finish me off, man? I have years to get better, and it's going to take me years to get my life back together. I don't have the strength for it. Why don't you just finish me off? Immediately, Russ, it came to me. Because he saved you because you've been wasting your life. Now it's time to fucking live it. But we go back to what I said earlier. I had to pay my penance. There's no free lunch in this life.
No.
There's no free lunch. And I had to pay my penance with my time, with my mind, with my sobriety, and then financial came to me. I got a bill in the mail from the IRS for a $9,000 tax bill because of the 40 grand I had in sales the year before on eBay. And a lot of those eBay sales were me shoplifting, bad habits, this fucking robbing Walmart and all that fucking crazy shit. But a lot of it was my legitimate eBay business. But you know what, though? I sat there, I looked at the bill, and I said to myself, half of this was me stealing from other people. I'm not going to fill out forms and deductions and get this bill down significantly. I paid back. I might not have paid back Walmart or other places that I shoplift from, but I paid somebody back.
Right.
$9,000 I paid back to, obviously, the IRS, but it was my penance. I deserved to pay every cent of that. It took me years to pay it. No income tax returns for years. And I deserved it. I deserved to pay a little bit back, but it was also, I deserved to be better too. I deserved to enjoy the life that God gave me to live.
Exactly.
Life is precious. People lose it every day. And I was wasting mine. I was giving mine away. That's like people always say in sobriety, I'm giving everything away. I'm giving everything away. I woke up that morning, if I got in trouble, I went to bed the next night at my mother's house. After I got out of jail, I had nothing. All my money was, I handed the lawyer the check. I couldn't go back to my apartment. You know what I mean? I was getting ready to lose my driver's license. I got in trouble before that. Everything was here. And now all of a sudden, it's in the shitter. Not realizing that I was on the path to recovery.
Right.
And that was the way it went. I got sober. I didn't want to go back to jail, but more importantly, I didn't want to watch my mother cry for me anymore. My mother's a saint. And she saved my life.
She's a great woman.
And she saved my life, you know, and to see her upset, crying, not knowing what to do for me, that's what got me sober. That's what keeps me sober today. I never want to upset my mother again because I upset her a lot sometimes when I was younger. I don't want to do it anymore.
No, and that's a great reason to be sober. And I always say to a lot of people now, since I'm sober, and I know we talked about it already, whatever it takes for you, me, or anyone out there to be sober, no matter what it is, use it.
Yeah.
Run with it.
Absolutely.
Stay close with it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Russ, closing out, if you could give anyone listening right now some life advice, whether it's getting sober, business, weightlifting, whatever, what do you got? What do you got? Top of your head.
Oh, I got a lot. I mean, if it's about life,
one of each.
Okay.
Give me one of each.
If it's about life, and this isn't my quote, and it's funny that you asked it, but I was just talking to a girl the other day. We were going back on Facebook about it. If it's one thing about life, anyone would try and spend as much time with your children, your family as possible as you could. You'll never regret spending time. And that's not my quote. That's a quote on that we read on Facebook, but I believe in it. You'll never regret spending time with your children. You'll never regret spending time with your family. And like I said, I know my son, he grows up in my house. He grows up in his mother's house. So, you know, I get him as much as I could. We spend time as much as we could. But once I got sober, I tried to spend whatever free time I have with my son. That would be my life advice. I would have to say that's at least my advice for myself. Sober advice. I know me and you've talked about this a lot too, and we've commented back and forth. Reach out to somebody. Don't be afraid to start. If you feel that you want to get sober, if you feel that you have to get sober, if you feel you're at rock bottom and you feel there's no other way, there is. Mm-hmm. Reach out to somebody, anybody, and just ask for help. A lot of people are afraid to take that first step. A lot of people are afraid to admit it. A lot of people are embarrassed about it. I used to be.
Me too. First AA meeting first AA meeting, I remember shaking, just trying to say something.
Just like I said, going back to in my 20s, I couldn't leave my house unless I did 4 or 5 shots.
Yeah. Now imagine trying to live your life without those shots, trying to walk into a place normal. It wasn't easy.
No. Now I walk in, wherever I walk in now sober, now I walk in.
Head up, chest out.
Confident.
Yep.
I feel good. I'm comfortable. I could know you and I'm comfortable. If I don't know you, I'm comfortable. I'm just, because I'm okay with myself now these days. Back then I wasn't. Now these days I am.
That's great.
I feel good. You know, I want to be good. I want to be healthy. So I carry myself a different way now.
I absolutely love that. I do. And I feel the same way. And we get sober for ourselves to be good for other people.
Right. You
can't give, I remember something was Matt Walsh, I think he quoted, like, how you giving relationship advice when you're not married? I mean, I hear where he's coming from, but you can still kind of give relationship advice, even though you're not married. But I also hear I hear both sides of that aisle argument.
It depends on the kind of person you are,
Yeah.
and not to go too far into it.
Right,
but
right. Real fast.
There's nothing wrong with listening to
anyone.
But
anything. You
Right.
might hear something you
Right.
might want to hear or might not. The worst thing that happened was you didn't listen to them.
Right. Just because they don't have experience in it, or they didn't go through it, or they didn't live it, or whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm an open-minded person. You're an open-minded person. I'll definitely engage in conversation with you. I'll listen to you. I'll never put you down. Oh, well, like you said, you don't know nothing about it because you're not married. Well,
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're not married or not.
Yeah, so I
The
was,
guy got feelings. The guy got opinions. Maybe he or she has something for you that they could share positive
I was
with you.
50-50 with that too. And I was like, I hear where he's coming from, but you can still give some advice. I'm going to
That's
change
your personality.
going to change the last question up a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I said business-wise. As a restaurant business owner, what kind of advice would you give other restaurant business owners that you see going on in this area that might be a little, not uncalled for, but like maybe unprofessional, or like you're losing customers? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, what are businesses doing wrong in this area that you might have noticed over the years? Did that make sense?
No, it does, but I'll answer it. It's hard for me to answer because I guess you would have to be, in the middle of that business and
All
know
right,
what's
let's
going on.
rephrase that then, Russ. What have you learned
In my
that
business,
you were doing wrong?
Oh.
That customers, you're like, man, why have I been doing that for so long? What have you learned as you progressed in your business? That's the better way to say that.
I mean, in my almost 30 years of business, first of all, you can't have any business. Doesn't have to be the restaurant. It can just be any business. You can't have a business if you don't have customers, correct? But also your customers are very important to you, but your staff's also extremely important to you. I have a fantastic customer base. I also have a fantastic staff. I have staff working for me now for almost the whole duration that I've been there. I have 29 years with me. I have 20 years with me, 15 years with me, 10 years. But I would say for me, obviously, to make my business rotate and keep going, you need a good product.
Mhm.
You need hard work. You need good staff. You need your customers to come back. But with all that, I would say for me, to make my place work, it's my relationship that I have with my staff, and it's the relationship they have with me and my family.
That's important.
We respect them. They respect us. They work hard. Do we fight and yell at each other every now and then? Absolutely.
Sure.
It happens. You worked in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
My place just this past Saturday night, you got 500 dinners going out in 4 hours.
Someone's getting called an asshole.
Takeout, the bar, the dining room. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times me and some of my chefs or anyone, we argued, then we walk over, we start crying and hug each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? We tell each other, I'm sorry, I love you. All the time. I have one guy who works for me for 20 years. He started working there when he was 14. He is one of my main chefs right now. Scott, he's fantastic. Every night before he goes home, boss, have a good night. Love you too, buddy. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah, your staff and all my staff, I give credit to them. I thank them for what they do. Do we pay them, and is that their job? Absolutely, but it doesn't have to end there. You could still have your friendship with them. You could still have your love for them. You could still have your respect for them.
I completely agree.
And
They want to do a good job.
They want to do a good job.
It's so important. I have so many bad bosses in my life.
I have guys for me now who cook, who do whatever job they do in the place. I was just telling someone this story the other day. They won't send out a plate if there's a nick of sauce on it, that splash. No, they won't.
Good.
They'll get mad at themselves.
Yeah.
They want it clean. They want it to look good. They want it to taste good, look good. They want it to be good. I got the guys who cook for me. They go out, they talk to the customers. They know them. They hug them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's what makes a difference, I think, in any business. Your relationship with them, because the way you are with your staff and they are with you, it will radiate off.
Completely agree. Yeah. People will talk about that.
Yeah.
Great answers. I have 3 quick more questions. Then we're
Go
going to
ahead.
be done.
I'm good.
They might have changed from last year. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food. I'm trying to think the answer I gave you last year.
What's the answer this year?
Right now, my favorite food, if I had to say what my favorite food was, it might have changed. I'm not sure.
I'll have to look back and compare.
Okay.
All right.
I've been eating a lot of linguine white clam sauce.
Fucking love that. Wish you brought that. I would eat that at 4 in the morning.
But there's so much food I love.
Is that on the menu?
Yeah.
I never tried it down there before. I always get the same stuff when I come down there. Yeah. All right, so right now, your favorite food? I want some right now. Linguine with white clam sauce? I love that.
I've just been eating so much of it lately. But I've been eating a lot of food lately.
Yeah.
And there's some foods I told you with the acid reflux I got to stay away from.
That's on top of your list, though.
Well, that is because I can't have a lot of red sauces anymore.
That's fair. That sucks.
That is a dish that does not bother me as much.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But I will eat that right down at 4 o'clock. The whole thing.
I'll eat it right now. Leave the clam shells off of my pasta, though. Take them out of the fucking shell.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
It's all about presentation.
It is about presentation. Yeah. Me personally, I like to dig them out. I like the challenge. I
love eating clams.
It's a quick challenge.
It is.
But I like it. And then I like to get the clams and stack them all straight up. The shells. I love it.
Me too. What food are you eating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? If you only choose one particular food, it could be a meal, but you have to eat this meal every day, rest of your life.
Every day,
rest of your life.
Thanksgiving dinner.
That's a good. You might have gave that answer last year.
Thanksgiving dinner: turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, corn.
You might have gave that last year, and I took it as a cheat answer, but it's also a fantastic answer.
It's
just so much than that.
I was just talking about that with one of my workers. It's funny. There's about 3 or 4 of us standing in the kitchen about 4 days ago, and we were talking about our favorite. I said Thanksgiving dinner.
That's fantastic.
That's it.
What's your last meal? You're on death row.
My last meal?
You're on death row because somebody came and fucked at your restaurant. Now you're on death row.
Could I put a couple things though? Because I want an appetizer, I want a dessert, I want a dinner, I want a dessert.
Because you're from Old Forge,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, my appetizer, I want shrimp cocktail or crab cocktail. Okay. I like that. That's one of my favorite.
One or the other. Which one are you choosing?
Shrimp.
Last meal.
Shrimp cocktail.
Okay. Big shrimp.
Big
Colossals. All right.
And then I want
They're good.
Then I want surf and turf. I want a filet mignon. I want a big 1 pound lobster tail.
What's for dessert? Besides the electric chair.
I have 2 favorite desserts. Brownie a la mode, but we were talking about this on Facebook the other day. My favorite dessert, I don't eat it a lot because I don't have access to it unless I made it or bought it.
Sure.
And I'm not a good pie baker. Apple pie a la mode.
Number one
Whipped
answer.
Cream, caramel syrup. That, and if I can only have one of those 3, if the warden came in and said, taking these away, I'd say, give me the apple pie a la mode. I said, just put a little more ice cream and caramel syrup on there for me. But I love it. And my grandma used to make that for me when I was a kid. I loved it. Oh, yeah. Loved it.
I want some apple pie a la mode right now.
Oh, I'd eat a whole pie with you right now if we had it.
I think one of your answers last year's was Five Guys.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I love Five Guys.
That's our place. Me and my son go there all the time.
Went to a place in Florida called Retro Burger, I think it was called. I forget what it was called.
I think I saw you posted it.
It might have been better than Five Guys.
Yeah, I think
that's a statement right there, too.
I think you said that because I'm going to be honest with you. Me and my son been eating Five Guys since he's 4.
Yeah.
We started going
I know you telling me the story
when he was in preschool. We used to call it Five Guys Fridays.
Yeah.
He'd get out at 12:30. We'd go up Friday. Every Friday to Five Guys up in Dixon City, up in the I think it's the Cinema Plaza.
Yeah. Never have a bad meal. Never have a bad meal. Well, Russ, great episode.
Always.
Great part 2, man. We hit on what we wanted to hit on. A little bit of Old Forge pizza in the beginning. I'm incredibly hungry for clam sauce now and apple pie a la mode. Russ, it was an absolute pleasure, bro.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming back on Food Fight.
Anytime.
All right. My name is Brian DiMattei. I'm the host of the Food Fight podcast. Please follow me at my food page called DiMattei's Food Fight, DiMattia''S, Food Fight on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok has taken off, and it's still active, so that's good. It's good. It's still working pretty well. So, again, my name is Brian DiMattei. This was the Food Fight podcast.
Thanks, Brian.
Awesome. Thanks, Russ.
You're very welcome.
Awesome. Woo.